Well, hello folks, L.A. Little here with TA today, and today we're going to look at a few opportunities for tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm doing this after the market closed on February 9th. And what we're going to look at here to start with is what we usually do, which is let's look at the indexes themselves, the Qs, and let's look at the SPY. Now, if we look at the Qs, I'm going to start with it first because the key here is it was unable to break over both bearish retest regions. You have this one, you have that one. It got over one of them, but not the other one. And so that's going to be kind of an interesting setup for tomorrow. See if it can clear that hurdle or not. If it can't, then we're going to probably get some pullback in these markets. And I think we're probably going to get some pullback anyway, just because of where we're at, and that is that we're back up here near the highs. You know, now maybe it makes another new high. Remember we were talking about there's kind of this wedge, what is it, more like a diamond shaped thing that's starting to take place. It's a wedge that has expanding values, and typically those things are not valuable. You know, when you were going up, they usually reverse and come back the other way. So it's been a strong market. There's targets up above. If we look at the actual S&P, this thing's trying to regenerate over here on the weekly. You know, it doesn't look bad. It's just that, you know, it's where it is, and that's a problem. Now, if the market does want to come back, there's going to be some plays possibly here in the financials. Financials have been lagging for a while. They're struggling here. If we look at this particular chart, you can see here on a weekly, it's in a range. The range could be, you know, if you wanted to draw it out, it's from there to there. It's towards the bottom of that range. The problem is it just busted a bullish retest regen on the daily and it's trying to head back down here. So looks to me like this is going to try and break out these swing point lows, and if it does, that's going to give us some momentum to go try and get down. Well, first would probably be this area, and then you'd have that 465 area. On a monthly over here, that 465 area is the swing point low. It's going to take a bit to get it down there, but you know, this thing to me appears to have topped. And I don't want to be buying something that tops. I want to be selling something that tops. I want to be trying to short it, if anything. Here's Visa, which is in the same boat, and Visa actually a little worse off. It looks like it topped out back here and has been working its way lower. It's rising wedge now, if you kind of do those things, right? Kind of a rising wedge coming back into bearish retest regions. There's a whole bunch of them. My guess is it's already touched into it once. My guess is this is going to roll and break, take out this swing point low. Again, you got a low over here on the monthly that correlates with this. And if it takes out these lows on the daily, right, which is this low, which is going to push into this low, it's got a shot to get down here. So I think Visa, I think MasterCard, I think they've already topped. And I think if anything, you want to look for opportunities to short them. Now let's go to the other side, IGV. Now this thing had been beaten down so bad that it wanted to bounce. And I brought this up in the last video. I talked about Microsoft, I talked about Oracle, I talked about IGV. I talked about all these names probably bouncing today, and bouncing they did. Now the problem with this is that, you know, as you put, you know, distance between where price is and where price was, right, it makes it harder to buy. This is probably the target, the 91 area. There's a swing point lows high right there. That looks to me like it's about as high as it can get, which is another 5. You got 5 to the downside. It's not a trade anymore unless you get some weakness that you can buy intraday. So IGV was a good trade, probably off the radar right now. Microsoft, same thing. Microsoft got a nice little push today, up 3%. Now Microsoft still a buy. You can actually trade this back up to this area up here fairly safely. That big bar there, you're going to have some resistance at 422, but you know, it could get as high as about 440. So 422, 440 are the targets. I still think this is a good trade and probably worth looking at. And I actually didn't add Oracle in here, but let's add it in and look at it again real quickly. Oracle, same sort of thing, bounce. Now this had a huge spike up today, 10%. It's been beaten down really bad. The problem with oracles, I wouldn't trade it anymore because the intersection of these two anchors, that's probably as high as it gets, which is not that much farther with respect to where your risk is now. There was a couple of hammers today that looked interesting for tomorrow. This is the real, which is retail. You got this little, I'm going to blow this up so you can see it better. You've got this little under-over with respect to this low, and that was a high volume low. And so you had volume there, you come underneath it, right? Volume shrinks, you go back over and you close over it. This looks to me like it's going to try to run back up into these. Now this has huge short interest, 18%. So if it gets going, it's going to run very fast, and it's going to run right back into these bearish retest regions. Where would I be looking at the target? I'd look at the target of this low and this low, that intersection, which is this little area you see here, about 13 to 14, 1390 to 14. It's trading at roughly 1290. Your risk is back down to this low. If I look at it and say, where's the entry? Ideally, you'd like to get the entry down around 1240 to 50, maybe 1255. So maybe it gives that in the morning, especially if the markets give a little weakness to start. And then you try to shoot for that. You put your stops up underneath there. Let's look at the other one, and that is PCT. PCT, and both of these have earnings about 2.5, 3 weeks out. PCT, the same sort of thing here. You got the under over on this bar. They're about equal weight. You didn't test that low. It would have been nice had it cut underneath this and reversed just like we saw on Real, but it didn't. Still, this looks to me like it can trade back to this anchor bar's high, which is this one. And so the intersection of those two, that's about 1020 or so. If it gets over that, then I think it can run up into the 1120 area, right? The tops of these up in here. So, I don't know whether it gets over this bearish retest region or not, but that's where you have to reevaluate and say, do I keep it or not? That means you need to get an entry maybe about 940, somewhere close to the bottom of the bar prior. And so I still think, it's a good setup. Not quite the setup that I see over in Real. Now, Real I don't have a lot of experience with, so that one I'll have to trade on the fly tomorrow and see what I think about it. That's where we're at. I hope that helps you. If you have a like for these videos and you see what I'm doing, subscribe, hit the alert, and of course like it if you want. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Take care. See you next time.